How is your record so far in the NFL season? Have you won more than you lost? Have you turned a profit? In my videos, we follow a process where I look at the data from 2015 to 2022 and find trends that are profitable, not only overall from those 8 seasons, but from one season to the next. We look for a consistent pattern. We're going to look at these trends and look at the best bets for week 4. But before we do that, let's look at our record and recap week 3. Here are my best bet records for my videos for the first 3 weeks of the NFL season. In week 1 and 3, we've turned a profit. In week 2, we lost a little bit, but not much. Overall, we have an 18-13 record and a 58.06% win rate. Because we're trying to get ahead that 52.39% threshold to be profitable, we're doing pretty good. Let's do a quick week 3 recap of our bets. We followed the following trends: divisional underdogs that cover the spread, winless 0-2 teams that cover the spread in week 3, and then divisional games with high totals. Now, these are the percentages overall of each of these trends, and as well as the season hit rate from 2015 to 2022. I'll talk about those more in detail later. But here's what happened in week 3. The Texans and the Jets were the divisional underdogs to cover the spread. And the Texans did that, of course. In fact, they won that game against the Jaguars. The Jets did not win. Now, in the next trend, I'm going to show you the Patriots, which is where I placed my bet. So even though the Jets didn't win on this one, I did not place that bet with the Jets. Here are the winless teams that we're looking at covering the spread in week 3. How did this trend work out? 5-3. Now, who in their right mind would have thought that the Texans and the Cardinals would not just cover their big spreads, but also win outright? These are some surprises. And when it comes to betting on trends, sometimes it's very uncomfortable. We're looking at these and thinking, how could that ever happen, right? Well, as we all know, there's a lot of variance in NFL games. If we look at trends that are very consistent and go over that 52.39% threshold, then maybe we can find some value there. Here's our week 4 best bets. And before we do this, we'll look at the trends. The first one is road divisional underdogs. Now, I'm not going to bet this trend, but I want to show you this because in the more detailed, finer look at the trend, you're going to see why I would not follow this particular one. We're back at it with the winless teams covering the spread in week 4, the 0-3 teams. And this is not a comfortable situation to be in. You look at some of these teams and think, how could they possibly do this? They haven't won a game yet. But we'll check those out. Home underdogs coming off a 20-plus point loss. Wow. In other words, teams that just got blown out but are now at home and are underdogs in the next week. This is a trend I got from the Josh Applebaum book, and we'll see how that one does. And finally, the one that we've been doing for the last couple of weeks, divisional games with high totals that go under. Look at these percentages here. 2/3 of the time, winless teams cover the spread from 2015 to 2022. And they do that, they go above that 52.39% threshold in 6 of the 8 seasons. That's pretty strong. I always go for at least 55% in all of these overalls. You can see that these 2 are over as well. And they cover in 7 or 6 of the 8 seasons. Now, what I'm going to do is break down all 4 of these in a little bit more detail. I show these percentages in previous videos, but what I want to show you all is how I actually view it and what I look for the consistency. Here's that first row divisional underdogs that cover the spread. You would think overall 52.91%, that's slightly above our threshold of 52.39%. Maybe this is a good trend, maybe not. We look at the seasons here and look at how many times that particular trend came true. Well, in 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2021, it didn't go over that threshold. In other words, this trend did not work out. It was not profitable. Only in 4 of these seasons was it profitable. In 2020, barely. So overall, I'm not going to follow this trend, but you can see the green here means it worked. Yellow means close, but not quite. And red means way off. Here is the winless teams that cover the spread. Now check this one out. Overall, they cover the spread 2/3 of the time. Now this sample size is only 33. That means that's about 4 games per season. But 100% in 3 of these seasons, 75%, 60, and 80. Now that looks really impressive, and I'm definitely going to bet this trend. However, that 100% could be literally 1 of 1 or 2 of 2. So because the sample size is a little bit smaller, these big numbers might be a little bit misleading. Now, here are the teams that are 0-3 headed into week 4. And look at the first two there. The Broncos and the Bears, they play each other. The Vikings and the Panthers play each other. So which of these are we going to pick here? Well, I'll do a little bit more analysis on this. And while the Bears have not covered the spread for the last 2 weeks, and they do not look very good at all, they just got beat by the Chiefs. And I know the Broncos, we all know that the Broncos here are not the Chiefs. And they just got blown out by the Dolphins, but the Dolphins are a very high-powered offense. And with the 3.5, we know that 3 is a key number here. I'm going to go with the Bears at 3.5. Now, I got this Vikings at -2.5 earlier in the week. In fact, I picked it up on Sunday morning. And because that's under the 3 points there, I figured the Vikings hopefully will get on track and beat the Panthers by at least a field goal. So those are my official picks. Bears at +3.5, Vikings at -2.5. Now, home underdogs coming off a 20-point loss or more that cover the spread in the next week. Again, 57.14%. Now, the sample size is a little bit bigger here. And look at this consistency. 7 of the 8 seasons, this trend was profitable. I'm definitely going with this trend for sure. And the final one, divisional games with high totals above 46.5 points that go under their totals. This is 55.85% overall, a really good sample size, and this is hit in 6 of the 8 seasons. Let's look at these games for week 4. This is one of the reasons why I picked the Bears. Now again, just because they satisfy 2 of the trends, it doesn't mean they're twice as likely to cover. However, I like this one, I like this trend, and the Bears fall in this one as well. And then finally, the Titans at +2.5 against the Bengals. Just got done watching Monday Night Football, and Joe Burrow was there standing up in the pocket, looking a little bit stiff. He loosened up a little bit in the second half, but I'm thinking with the Titans and their pass rush, maybe they're going to make it life hard on Joe Burrow. So Titans +2.5 at home. Finally, divisional games with totals above 46.5 points to go under. Now, again, I picked the Lions at the Packers at 46.5 early in the week on Sunday morning. I found that line. I was really excited to see that. This has been bet down. It's now at 45.5. I would not take it there. I would stick to the trend and not go below 46.5. That's the minimum amount. However, that line might go up. So keep an eye on that. If it goes up to 46.5 or bigger, then I would definitely make that bet. The Dolphins at the Bills at 50. Now here's where the line moved in the opposite direction against what I bet. It's now up to 53.5. And you look at this, you think, well, the Dolphins just scored 70 points. Well, yeah, that's against the Broncos defense, not against the Bills defense, and not against a divisional opponent. Now, this trend is strong because divisional teams know each other very well. They play twice a year, and by and large, most teams try to win their division to get into the playoffs. And then the Raiders at the Chargers, I got this at 50. That's already been bet down to 47.5. Like I said, the first and the third one here, I bet all these early. These 2, top and bottom, moved in my favor. The middle one did not. Final thoughts. Again, as always, please do your own analysis before placing your bets and feel free to fade my bets. The way I look at this, if you're not following the trends blindly, then at least you can use this information to help inform your bets and maybe use other information to go in that direction. In week 5, I'm going to continue following the strong trends, but I'll also debut my NFL points model. I said this in my previous video, but because of the trends I found for week 4, I'm just going to stick with those. And as always, good luck and have fun. If you liked this video and got some value from it, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Looking forward to week 4. Let's go.